What's up, Michigan, and welcome back to the original high school sports show. I'm Jenna Rose, riding solo this week with Lauren Plant being off. State Champs High School Sports Show is presented by Lawrence Technological University. LTU can offer athletic as well as academic scholarships. Recruit yourself at ltuathletics.com. We already had a change to our top 10 in our State Champs Mr. Football race presented by Hungry Howie's. The latest MHSAA Minute has some new rules for the cross-country postseason tournament, and we'll go in focus on the three-time defending Division I girls golf state champs, the Northville Mustangs. Let's recap the action throughout the week. And we start on the west side of the state for a boys soccer matchup between Fruitport and Grand Rapids West Catholic. In the first half, Ryan Loss chips it to Bodie Ansbach, who then puts it into the back of the net. And that would be the only goal of the game as Fruitport shutouts West Catholic 1-0 the final. Field hockey gets some love here on State Champs. The Chelsea Bulldogs went on the road to take on Farmington Hills Mercy. We pick things up in the first half as Chelsea gets on the board as Leah Spink feeds it to Braden Scheffler, who puts it home, and the Bulldogs led 1-0 after the first. But the Marlins would answer in the second as Ashley Manning would even the game up, and this game would end in a 1-1 tie. Next to girls golf for a KLAA showdown between Northville and Plymouth. Both teams ranked in the top 10 going into the season. It was a close battle for the 9 holes these girls play, and in the end it would be the three-time defending state champs Northville winning by 4 shots. More on the Mustangs a little later in the show. And finally to the girls swimming. 2 top 10 teams squaring off on Thursday night as number 2 Marion made the short trip to take on the Cranes from Bloomfield Hills Cranbrook, who is 7th in the state. It would be the Mustangs that came through on this night as they took down their rivals from Cranbrook. It's now time to go to this week's MHSAA Minute.
We're just 6 weeks away from the Upper Peninsula Cross Country Finals in Marquette, and we're just 8 weeks away from the Lower Peninsula Finals held at Michigan International Speedway. There are still some huge meets coming up this year, like the Holly Invite, the Spartan Invite, and more, all leading up to the MHSA Regional Tournament in the Lower Peninsula the week before the MHSA Cross Country Finals. New this year, more runners will qualify for the finals. In past years, the top 15 individuals at a regional qualified for the finals. But many of those runners were already qualified based upon their team advancing to the finals. Now, a minimum of 7 individuals from teams not advancing to the finals will qualify, even if they finish outside the top 15. This will give more individual runners an opportunity to experience participating in a championship event. Fingers crossed that the weather stays great and everybody has a great finish to their cross-country season. As always, visit MHSA.com for any further needs in cross-country.
Welcome once again inside the State Champs studios as we bring you Week 3 of State Champs Mr. Football Race presented by Hungry Howie's. I am Ryan Slocum, filling in for Lauren Plant this week, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Sean Belizean. And Shawnee, we do have a change in the top 10 this week. Jaden Mangum from Birmingham Groves coming off the list for now. LeSean Mumfield, the junior quarterback out of Detroit Cass Tech, has been on fire the first 2 weeks of the season, throwing for 11 touchdowns. He is now in the top 10, Sean.
Pretty hard to argue that. And again, don't forget, this list is fluid. One guy might come on, one guy might come on, another guy might come back on. That's the way it is, and you're a big part of it.
Sean, this week we are going to profile a player from Dearborn Fordsham. Familiar name, Antonio Gates Jr. We all know his dad, Antonio Sr., could be a first ballot Hall of Famer in just a couple of years. The apple not falling far from the tree here.
No, it isn't, and he is really making a name for himself, Ryan. This kid has started the season on fire. I think everybody knew about him already, but he and the Tractors are doing work early on. made a big statement that first game at Wayne State, had a couple touchdowns, had a couple more touchdowns against Livonia Stevenson last week, including an electrifying 82-yard touchdown. Also has an interception this year. This young man is going to be taking his talents to Michigan State University. This is one of Mel Tucker's prize recruits. This kid is the real deal. Sky's the limit for his talent, Ryan.
No question. Thanks a lot for being here, Sean. We will be back next week as we talk up another candidate who wants to take home this year's Mr. Football Award. It's important for you to vote for your candidate. The leading vote getter can never be removed. Do it now. Do it often. All you got to do is go to statechampsnetwork.com.
State Champs Michigan's Extra Point is where high school football fans go to get their news. Premiering Thursdays on the State Champs app and across the network, Extra Point features highlights, analysis, great interviews, and more. And don't forget to listen to the companion audio podcast on Spreaker or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, what's up, Michigan? I am Ryan Slocum, filling in for Lauren Plant this week, and with me is the Michigan High School Football Hall of Fame coach Tim Beckler for another breakdown in our Anvil Award contest as we seek to find out who we feel will be the top lineman or linebacker in the mitten. This award proudly presented by Hungry Howie's. No changes to our top 10 this week, and you can find the standings at our website, statechampsnetwork.com. Detroit Cass Tech off to a 2-0 start to the season, and they have a 6'6", 4-star leading the way. It's the technician senior Deone Walker, and he plans on making an unofficial visit to Michigan this weekend for that big night game against Washington. And Coach, you watched film on this guy, and man, you were impressed.
Yes, this young man has the wow factor, no question. 6'6", 6'7", 340, starts both ways, defensive tackle, offensive tackle. He's also got offers from Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, and Missouri. Great win over Muskegon. Wow, and his team's playing great too, and he has a lot to do with it. Offensively, devastating down blocker, base blocker. But what's so impressive is to be that big of a young man and be able to get the reach, get the hook block on outside zone. They pull him on counter tray and he leads up on linebackers. It's really impressive. Then defensively, very quick off the ball. He's got a great get off, can't single block them, and he feels double teams. He can spin move off, and he uses his height. He's got a great swim move to get to the ball or get to the quarterback, and he's a great football player, and he's really jumped up in my eyes.
Well, they're going to need him coming up this weekend. The Technicians have a big game Friday night against their rivals from King. State Champs will be there to capture all the action. Coach Beckler also going to be back next week to talk up another candidate who wants to take home this year's Anvil Award. It is important for you to vote for your candidate. The leading vote getter can never be removed. Do it now, do it often, and you can do it at statechampsnetwork.com.
Earlier in the episode, we showed you highlights of the Northville girls golf team as they took on Plymouth. We go in focus on the Mustangs as they are going for a 4th straight Division I golf state championship.
Last year was an amazing year. It was so unique, primarily because we only had one day at the state finals, so there was a lot of pressure on everyone to perform on that day. And I think we had talked a lot about that leading up to the event, and subsequently when the day came, the girls were able to produce. And they had a sensational finish at Forest Acres that day. You know, I think that led to the overall victory, just hanging in there and believing they could do it.
It was definitely really important. It was super cool to win again, especially during COVID, because it was a struggle to come out onto the course, you know, like because we had school and it was really, really hectic. So to go out and win the state championship again when there were so many teams that were playing really, really well, it was really awesome and it was great.
We had 6 girls returning who were on our regional and state team, and I think they all prepared themselves for the opportunity that they had in front of themselves. They know that this is a great position they're in, and they could possibly even win a 4th straight.
I think all of our players are playing really well right now, and I think if we just maintain that and just stay strong, it'll really benefit us in the state championship compared to the other teams. So I think that if we just keep that attitude and that mindset, then we'll definitely go back out there and hopefully get the win again.
Obviously, a repeating state title would be awesome, and that's our goal, but we don't really focus on that. We just kind of want to go tournament by tournament, and we're all so competitive that even at practice, it's just working on your own game, trying to get better, so then we kind of do the prep work working towards states.
It's honestly phenomenal. Like, I love coming out here and playing with the girls. It's always a fun time, and to like come back after COVID and get to see all of my teammates and play with them every single day, it's like the best thing in the world, and I love them so much.
I've grown up with most of the girls in the team competing individually, so they're all like family, they're all like my sisters, and so getting to be just practicing with them is so awesome, but getting to have the privilege to compete with them is just something that I couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Hey everyone, I'm Jenna Rose with an exciting announcement. State Champs and our parent company, Yellow Flag Productions, are launching a platform that fills a gap in the high school sports coverage and recruiting process. Introducing SCW State Champs Women, the high school sports and recruiting platform designed for the female athlete. While long overdue, women's sports are finally beginning to gain the attention they have always deserved. One example is the 2021 NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Ratings were at the highest level in over 7 years. And for the first time, all of the tournament's games were televised nationally. Over the past 20 years, State Champs has always made it a core part of its mission to highlight the achievements of Michigan high school girls teams and student athletes. As we begin our 4th year covering the state of Indiana and our 2nd in the state of Ohio, State Champs is the only outlet that consistently showcases female sports all school year long. Did you know that roughly 84% of sports fans claim to be equally interested in watching women's sports? Half of these fans being females themselves. Our viewership numbers prove that. As we dive into this exciting endeavor, SCW is committed to showcasing female high school sports in the tri-state area. While a dedicated offshoot of the State Champs Network website is being developed, the SCW social media channels will soon start filling up with a variety of high school girls sports content. We invite you to follow, like, and subscribe to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channels. We also want to connect with you on the kind of content you'd like to see presented on SCW, so let us know. State Champs is once again changing the game. State Champs W is here to stay. Enjoy.
Time now to take a look inside Lawrence Technological University Athletics. Lawrence Tech is starting a cheerleading team, and we met the new assistant coach to talk about her future at LTU.
Hi, my name is Amber Sachs, and I am the new assistant cheer coach at LTU. So this past winter, I was looking online to explore the possibilities of pursuing a cheer career in the college level. I have coached high school for 21 years, and I decided that it was time to see what else could be out there in terms of cheerleading. So I was looking on the internet, and I wanted something a little close to home, something that was local and important to me, a school that I supported, as well as a school that maybe some of my previous athletes might be interested in attending. And I saw a job posting, and I applied in the winter, and here we are in the spring. So I started coaching right out of high school. I started as a freshman coach. I actually was not a cheerleader in high school. I was not a cheerleader until college. And I decided that I was going to help a girl that I was working with at the time, and I had so much fun that I decided that's something I wanted to do. So I proceeded to climb the ropes a little bit, and I took over a varsity team of my own. And then I have actually coached at 4 of the local area high schools in the last 21 years. My last 11 years have been spent at Walled Lake Western, where we are a state finalist team. However, I have made this a priority not only for the love of the sport, but because of the community and the athletes and the parents that are involved. So one of the most exciting things that I'm looking forward to in college is the experience and the transition of the style. So college cheer has more of a unified, universal, countrywide format versus high school in Michigan is very particular in the style and format that we use. I'm super excited to make that transition because I've always been a firm believer that Michigan high school athletes are just as good as out-of-state athletes, and even though the formats are different, cheerleading is cheerleading. And the kids that are committed to the sport and have the athletic ability for the sport can make that transition really well, and I'm super excited to see what that looks like going forward with Lawrence Tech. So we started recruiting in the winter. As we were recruiting in the winter and now into the spring, we have ordered the uniforms and all of the necessary items that we need to get the program started. I think the goal for this year is to get the program off the ground. We're gonna get some recruits committed. We're gonna start with our Spirit Squad. We're gonna start with football games and basketball games and get everything kind of moving forward in the hopes to potentially compete. Maybe this year, might not be till next year. But at this rate, right now, our biggest focus is getting girls that are committed to the sport of cheerleading, wanna be committed to Lawrence Tech University, and want to help pump up the school spirit and get the vibe going at games.
Take your future into your hands. Visit LTUathletics.com and recruit yourself. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
It's week 3 of the high school football season coming up this week, and state champs will be all over the state covering the action. We go to Ryan Slocum and Scott Bernstein for a preview of some of the top games we're covering this weekend.
Why not start with number 1? It's Belleville at number 18, Livonia Churchill. Number 2, Cass Tech, the big rivalry, at number 7, Detroit King. Number 21, East Lansing is at number 10, DeWitt, trying to bounce back from last week's loss. And then we have number 16, Sterling Heights Stevenson. They will be playing at 22nd ranked Grosse Pointe South. Scott, tell us about these. What one or a couple of them intrigue you the most?
Well, what pops out right away is Cass King, best rivalry in the city of Detroit, going back decades when it comes to football and frankly basketball as well. But when it's on the gridiron and bragging rights are for the taking for the city, it's you can throw the records out the window. They're gonna come, they're gonna bring their A games, and I'm just so excited to see that gunslinger showdown between LaShawn Mumpfield, the quarterback for Cass Tech, and Dante DJ Moore, the quarterback for King. Big matchup coming from the MAC Red with Grosse Pointe South and Sterling Heights Stevenson. We touched on it at the extra point. That should be a great game. A ton of playmakers on the field. Power-packed weekend coming up, and I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Tons of huge games here in week 3, and of course we will have all of them for you right here on State Champs. State Champs Game Time Live is back this week. We will be bringing you the live play-by-play action from the Waterford Our Lady of the Lakes at Cranbrook football game. Both teams in search of their first wins of the season. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. Eastern on the State Champs Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch channel. It will be myself and Richie Pop along with Jenna Rose on the call. We will bring you all the action.
That's it for another edition of State Champs. Make sure to download the free State Champs streaming app. It's available in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. Watch our shows on TV using the Amazon Fire Stick or Roku. And head on over to our website, statechampsnetwork.com. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Jenna Rose, and thanks for watching.
State Champs is presented by Lawrence Technological University. LTU offers over 24 varsity sports for men and women, along with several dozen world-class undergraduate programs. Athletic and academic scholarships are available in all sports. Visit LTUathletics.com and recruit yourself. Also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud partner of the MHSAA. Detroit Medical Center Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. And Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor.